Welcome everyone to Nuts and Bolts Part 2. My name is Johan, Diamond Leader here from RubyCell. And today we are going to continue from what we were doing last week, which was Part 1. We've discussed what is a nut and bolt, and we've discussed the list of things in the nut and bolt system. And today, really, it's to continue on from the list of things that we are going to go through. We went through number 1 last week and number 2, and which is getting started and having a plan. And we're going to continue on to number 3. Okay, so without much further ado, we're going to get right to it. Okay. So just to revise a bit, in part 1 we discussed about having a dream, okay, and having some action plans towards those dreams. And so after you have those dreams, what you need to do is you need to start setting goals, okay? And if you want to, basically, as far as setting goals is concerned, you need to understand why we need to have goals, okay? And I want to share a no, it's not a joke, but it's like a saying, which is so there was a guy who asked another person so let's say I'm asking someone, okay? I ask someone, excuse me, which bus do I get on? You know, which bus do I get on? And then the other person goes, where do you want to go? And this guy goes, I don't know. Do you guys get it? Like a lot of us ask, which business should I do? What job should I do? What should I be doing? You know, but if you're asking the wrong question. The question is not what should you do? The question is, where is your destination? Actually, where do you want to go? You know what I mean? And so that is why it's important to have a goal. Okay, that is why it's important to have a goal, and you need to, for the train to depart on time, you know, there's examples here. For the train to depart on time, there needs to be a destination. For workers to select their travel route, or for housewives to even prepare food, everyone needs to know what is the end destination in order for you to set goals properly. And so, you know, when we set goals, we must keep in mind that that is exactly what we need to. We need to have a very clear destination. Without clear destination, we don't know what the middle part is. Okay, we don't know how hard we need to work. We don't know how much we need to work. We don't know how much money we're gonna need, who we're gonna meet, what we're gonna wear. All these things come into play. That's why those people who tend to be a bit lost on what to do every day, or those people who tend to always ask themselves, actually, what am I doing? What's my meaning in life? What should I be doing every day? Is this the right decision or that the right decision? Usually it's because their goals are not clear or they simply forgot. Someone like me, I need to remind myself of my goals every day, every morning. Oh, you can actually see, you know, behind me, there's a whiteboard, you know. I know you can't see clearly, but on top of around the whiteboard, okay, so I have a whiteboard in my house office, but on the whiteboard, I wrote down all my goals on top. And so every morning when I look at this this whiteboard, then I'm reminded of my goals. I also have a book. I don't have it here now, but basically I write down my goals for that day. And at the end of the day, I reflect back on whether I achieved those goals or not. And why do I do that? Because someone like me, I want to make sure that I achieve discipline, you see? I want to make sure that I achieve discipline, and I want to make sure that I don't forget my goals, and I want to make sure that every day I spend, it counts towards achieving whatever I want to achieve. And so it's very important to have goals, very clear goals, because by having a goal, you have a destination, and all the other things get into place. Now, when you set a goal, there are some requirements to set a goal. The first goal is set big goals. I know a lot of people, when they set goals, they're like, I just want to make this much money, you know, or I'd be happy if I just did this much. And the problem with setting goals like that is that, let's say, for example, you set a goal to make 1,000 US dollars. Okay, for those of you who are Malaysian, it's 4,000 ringgit. And let's say you set a goal to make 1,000 US dollars. What ends up happening is that you try really hard to make 1,000 US dollars, and some people make 1,000, but some people might make 800 or 500. Okay, and so, but actually, the persons who set the goal as 1,000 US dollars, it's not the 1,000 US dollars. The question is it a ridiculous goal or not? Because let's say the person who wanted to make 1,000 US dollars, instead they set a goal of making 2 or 3,000 US dollars. Okay, and let's say a person set a goal to make 2,000 US dollars, they will action plans to achieve 1,000 US dollars is very different to action plans to achieve 2,000 US dollars, right? And so if you set goals that are big, the chances of you achieving the goals that you actually want to achieve goes higher. Because all of a sudden, the goals that you set, which are bigger, pushes you to a place which you normally won't push yourself if you didn't have a goal like that. Like, is it really important to hit those goals? In a way it is, but at the same time, even if you didn't, if the goal was very big and you ended up somewhere in the middle, it's still okay, all right? And so it's important to set big goals, because once you set big goals, you push yourself to the limit and you will be able to identify exactly how far you can go, and you will be able to hit somewhere in the middle, which could be higher or around the actual goal that you had, okay? The second thing is set long-term goals. I like this one. I like setting long-term goals because, I spent a good 10 years of my life running businesses, and I had nothing to show for, really. In fact, when I first, after 10 years of running my own business, I only had 500,000 ringgit of debt to show. And I mean, there's a lot of reasons why that happened. It's all, I take responsibility for all that in my life. But the real problem, right, to all that is because I didn't set long-term goals for myself. And I ended up making a lot of decisions which were very short-term. And when you make goals which are short-term, what ends up happening is that your success or the results that you produce don't last long. You make decisions which only last for a short period of time. And that's why we need to make sure that we need to set goals for long term. Now, when I say something like this, right, a lot of people say, yes. They agree. They agree with setting long-term goals. But what they don't understand, or what they need to realize, is that your decisions also need to be long-term. So for example, let's say that you are doing we are talking about Ruby Cell business, right? When you look at your partners, there are certain partners which are gonna need some time before they can actually produce results. And as an upline, you're gonna want them to produce results because you need the PV to move on to your next rank or to hit your income goal or blah, 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 right? And when if you have a short-term goal, you will start to handle that relationship not in the best way, because you're going to push that person to a place where they shouldn't go, and they just can't handle it at that short period of time. People who have more long-term goals, they know they are patient, and because they're patient with people, and they don't push others beyond their limits. I'm not saying that leaders shouldn't push their downlines at all. What I'm trying to say is that you shouldn't push them beyond their limits such that they don't do the Ruby Cell business anymore. And so when you set long-term goals, know that setting long-term goals come with long-term decision-making process, okay? And that could mean being a bit more patient with your partners. That could mean that recruiting someone who may not have the best potential initially, but requires a bit more of your training in order for them to be able to be successful in the long run. I know personally from my experience, when I first started Ruby Cell in Malaysia, I started with two 19-year-olds and a housewife. And fine, I had one superstar ex-insurance agent, which is Michelle. But on the whole, that's how I started. And if I had short-term goals, I wouldn't have chosen them. But I had long-term goals and I spent the time to train them. But, and you know what's the best part? When I took a more long-term view and I trained everyone from the ground up, what ended up happening was the success came a lot faster than I thought. Because what I subconsciously was doing was building really important fundamental foundations in their character and in their business for them to be able to truly become a successful businessman or a woman. And so make sure that when you set long-term goals, you are also clear that you have to make long-term decision making, okay? The third one is have detailed goals that you truly desire. And what this really means is that if you have a 5-year plan, you should have a 1-year plan also, which will eventually hit the 5-year plan. And then you should have a monthly goal and a weekly goal and eventually a daily goal. And the secret, okay, let me tell you a secret. Don't tell anybody. But the secret really is having successful habits. What you do every day is a habit. And your future is dependent on what you do every day. So if you want to have a successful future, you've got to do successful things every day. So if you change your habits into successful habits, that is when you achieve true success. Success in this sense means to achieve your objectives and goals. And so if you need to read books or learn a language, or you need to present, like me, you need to train people on a daily basis, then you make that into a habit. You make training into a habit. You make talking into a habit. You make learning into a habit. You make being resourceful into a habit. And you do that, and it will become your success eventually. And so that is what it means to have detailed goals that you truly desire. Your habits have to change. Habits can also mean like your character. Let's say, for example, like for me, when I met people, I was always too serious, you know? And people don't like to be too serious, especially in the beginning. They want to, know you a bit, know who you are and all that. And I learned how to become more sociable with other people. I learned how to make jokes. I learned how to be more connected to other people. And I made it into a habit. So it's who I am now. And that is how, I changed my habits in order to become in order to get closer to the goal that I want to get to. Okay. And so that is really what having a detailed goal is all about. Okay. Now, when you set goals, right, you need to take principal actions to take in order to achieve your goals. So what that means is, in order to achieve your goals within the Ruby Cell system, how do you do it? Number one is follow the system. Number two is follow the counseling. And number three is follow consistently. And what this basically means is network marketing is not a new industry. There are things which have been proven to work in the industry, and things like this, like nuts and bolts, are principles. Principles don't change. Okay, the way you do these things can change, but the principles don't change. Okay, and so you need to follow the system, because the system is already a proven method for you to eventually achieve success in the long run. Okay, and so like things like setting goals, having dreams, later we're going to talk about building name lists. All these things are systems which were developed over the past 60 years, which we're bringing to you so that you can have the highest chance of success. Okay, and so you don't really need to go and invent something new in order for you to be successful in the Ruby Cell business. What you need to do is understand what the system is and replicate, duplicate, become the system. Follow the counseling basically means there are people who recruited you into coming to do the business. Whether they're older or younger than you, more experienced or less experienced than you in terms of career or work, they have done Ruby Cell longer than you. The fact that someone else has recruited you means that that person has done Ruby Cell longer than you. And because that person has done Ruby Cell longer than you, there are certain things that they will know more than you about, period. Okay, and it doesn't matter if the person who recruited you is younger or less experienced in terms of work, or is not as educated or whatever. That person knows more about you than Ruby Cell, and as a result, that person's counseling matters a lot when it comes to running your own business. And so, those people who do the Ruby Cell business, but they're so smart because they have their own way of doing things. I mean, based on my experience, a lot of them have a lot of things to say, but until today, I have yet to see a single person become successful without listening to their upline's advice, really. I saw a lot of people who didn't make it because they didn't listen to the advice, and that's only because the person didn't follow through passionately about whatever they were thinking about. And they just simply had to go the long route of finding out their own system, when really through counseling, they will be able to, find the right system that they need to follow. And so you need to follow the counseling of your upline because they've done the business longer than you. You also need to follow consistently, okay? So you cannot be changing from one day to another. I think it's pretty straightforward. You need to be consistent. Every day you need to stick to that particular system and counseling that you have received from your upline and from your and from the company and from the group. Okay? And so what are some initial goals that you need to have in order to start up the business? Now, these are smaller goals, okay? These are the smaller goals that you need to start with if you're just starting out on the Ruby Cell business, okay? And the first one is product brand change. Very simple story. If I'm the CEO of Mercedes, but I drive a BMW to work, something is wrong. Something is weird, right? And so you should change your products into the actual business that you are doing. Number two is establish business tools. What are all the pamphlets, the presentation files? This, like for me, I have camera, I've got lighting, I've got all these things, What are the business? And don't get me wrong, I didn't tell you to go and get a camera. Okay, I didn't tell you to go and get a camera. I didn't tell you to go and get light. What I mean is, what are the business tools that you're gonna need in order to do your business? People who do home party, maybe you need better plates. People who do coffee shop presentation, maybe you need a printed out presentation. Maybe you want to do it on your laptop. That means you've got to do PowerPoint. What are the preparations that you need to do in order to do a presentation? Those are business tools that you need to get prepared. Number three is attend the meetings. Meetings like this, like nuts and bolts, are meetings that you need to attend regularly in order for you to become a master at these systems, okay? And you will also have a 3-month goal. 3-month goal. Number one is use all Ruby Cell products. Number two is identify target customers. We will talk about this later. And number three is conduct meetings. Conduct meeting basically means that you need to be able to start conducting meetings with other people outside. I have a cousin who does Ruby Cell full-time. He is, I think, 23 years old. And as a 23-year-old, he doesn't really have that many of a big network. He doesn't have much network. He has not met much people before. Even my 19-year-olds, Nigel, and now they're not 19, now they're super duper leaders. But, Nigel and who's the one that left? Yeah, anyways, we're recording, so I can't talk to you now. So, Nigel and Irvine, there's, when they first started, they don't have no idea how to conduct a meeting. But now they're mature. They go to the meeting. I know that people like Nigel and Irvine, I know that when they go to a meeting, they subconsciously establish who's in the meeting. That person's here for what reason, what's the objective, and how to direct. They know. It's not something that you're born with. It's a skill, okay? And so it's something that you can learn, all right? So conduct meeting, that's what it means, to learn how to conduct meetings, because you're gonna need to know how to do that if you run a business. And the business presentation and OM invitation. So this is basically outside, mentors, or sometimes you can do a business presentation, or you can, you can invite those uplines to your meetings. That's what it means. And also daily 10 core application. So we have, for those of you who have not attended the 10 core training, some of you may have attended my 7 steps of leadership, or 8 steps. So now it's 10 core, 10 core, basically there's a few more. And so basically it's applying about those things. If you haven't found out, if you don't know what the 10 core application is, you should tune into our 10 core training, which is probably going to happen after we complete the nuts and bolts training, okay? The point really is that once you've set goals, practical daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, and 5-year goals, you need to have rank targets, okay? And I want to help you understand what rank target means. So I am a diamond, right? But some of you are emeralds, some of you are gold, some of you are silver, some of you are agents, okay? And if you're an agent, okay, then you are learning to become an agent. You should be teaching other people how to become agents, and you should be teaching people how to teach other people how to become an agent. That's what it means. So every rank that you're in, your goal is really to teach other people how to be that rank. And the steps are, I learned how to be an agent. So you add there, if you're an agent, if you're a silver, you would say like this: my job is to learn how to be a silver, to teach how to be a silver, and to teach other people in my group how to be a silver, okay? And when you become a gold, you need to learn how to be a gold, teach how to be a gold, and teach others how to be a gold, okay? And emerald, if I am an emerald, I need to learn how to be an emerald. I need to teach people how to be an emerald, and I need to teach others how to teach others how to be an emerald. See, what happens is that when let's say I'm a gold, and I learn how to be a gold myself first, then I will be able to teach other people how to become a gold, right? And when you teach another person how to become a gold successfully, that person, what would that gold, let's say they became a gold. What would that person's goal be? To teach another person how to become a gold. So you got to teach that person how to teach another person to become a gold. That's all it really is, guys, you know, when it comes to goal setting, you know, and it's about going through that process. Now, of course, people have unique individual situations on how to become a silver, how to become a gold. We have our individual customers, et cetera, et cetera. And those things, you know, are the details. But at the core of it, at the principle is that when you set goals, you're really learning, you're teaching, and you're teaching people how to teach whatever it is that you're meant to be and you're at and are right now, okay? That's why we call this an education business in the end, because we are constantly learning and we are constantly teaching, and we are making more educators, we are making more teachers, we are teaching other people how to teach, okay? So that's pretty much goal setting, nuts and bolts, number 3, okay? So we're gonna move on to the next topic, and the next topic really is building your name list. Now, this topic is probably one of my most favorite topic, because if you know how to do number 4 really well, you will be rich, okay? And I'm not even talking about RubyCell anymore. I'm talking about business in general. Every business has to build a name list. And a lot of people have this misunderstanding that building name list is only for multi-level or network marketing. Nothing can be further from the truth. Building your name list is a very fundamental skill if you want to run any business. For example, you know, these days there are Facebook groups. How do you judge whether the Facebook group is successful or not? Based on the number of members, right? It's a name list. How do you judge whether an Instagram profile is successful or not? Based on the number of followers. It's a name list. Every successful business has a good strategy on building their name list. And this topic is probably one of the most important nuts and bolts topic. This skill of building your name list, to me, differentiates the professional to the amateurs as far as multi-level is, as far as business is concerned, okay? And I learned a lot about building name list, especially in RubyCell, actually, you know, to be very honest. And I'm gonna go through some theory on building name list, and then I have bonus content for you, which is how to use social media in order to build your name list, okay? Great. So, building your name list, let's go through this. The network marketing business is actually a numbers game, okay? Your name list is your capital, okay? More names, more capital. And this is the fundamental powerhouse which makes your business possible, okay? Because without name list, you've got no one to go to, you've got no one to talk to. And so if you have a lot of people to talk to, then you've got more business, more potential for business, okay? And now there's a very important third point here. I should have highlighted, made it red color, put neon lights and put arrows at it, which is list building. It's not just having a name list and that's it. You do it once. Name lists are meant to be built, and you're meant to build name lists consistently, okay, all the time. Your name list shouldn't be stopping at number 30 or 60 or 90 or 100 like we normally do. It should be growing all the time. Whether you're writing it down on your piece of paper or in your diary or in Microsoft Word, or you have a super automatic name list generating software, which does exist, okay, if you want to go there, you need to be building a name list all the time. Until today, I am building my personal name list. And that is probably the most important asset, most important capital in your business, you know. And like, you know, with network marketing, it's about having a membership, a group, a big membership who is interested in purchasing the products and referring other people to purchase the products, right? It's a name list. And so you need to get used to the idea of building your name list, having a name list. You need to like building name list. I remember reading this book about how no matter what work you do, there will be certain aspects where you don't like about the work. For example, let's say you cut hair, but you don't like to sweep the hair. You better like sweeping the hair because you got to cut hair, right? So it's the same thing with network marketing. If you want to do multi-level marketing or any business, come on guys, you need to like building name list, period. You need to be obsessed with building name. You need to read books about building name list. You need to understand what builds name list. What is a name list, you know? So this is a very important, really important fundamental concept. Now, again, later I'll talk about the different ways you can build a name list. But first thing I want you to understand is that name lists are important, number one. And it's a fundamental, it's not a network marketing thing. It's a business thing. And it's something that should always be growing. It's not something that should just stop, okay? And I mean, there are so many things that I can talk about here about building name lists, but I don't want to bore you. But the last thing I'll probably say about it is that building name lists eventually means meeting more people, okay? And valuing, later we'll talk about that. Yeah, so later talk about it. Yeah, okay. So how to build your name list? Well, these are some very fundamental strategies on how to build your name list. I'm also going to give you a strategy later on how to build a name list, but how to build your name list. First thing is record keeping. I mean, I know it's obvious, but you've got to actually write it down. This is not as good as you think when it comes to building a name list, okay? Maybe you can remember 100 names. Maybe you can remember 30 max, you know what I mean? Unless you're an absolute genius. But if you don't write it down right, it's not gonna be as good. So record keeping, write down your name list. Number two, categorize, okay? Categorizing could be, you know, like you're looking for people who have money, or you're looking for people who are interested in beauty, or you're looking for people who are looking for opportunity, whatever, okay? You gotta categorize them. Bigger the list, the better, okay? And this name list will serve as a powerful suspecting tool, meaning instead of just blindly going to meet people, you will be more strategic in the marketing activities that you do. A person who knows how to filter people and suspect people before they go will have a much higher chance of a successful business than another person who is just randomly meeting people, okay? And you should go to as many people as possible on the list. And of course, as I said, the list should always be growing. And finally, you should have a secondary name list where these are people you met, but for some reason, they didn't join you. They go on a separate list where once you're done with this list, if you run out, you go to that particular list. It's called a secondary name list. So you should be really good at maintaining this name list, growing this name list, and understanding the power of it. Because that, I'm telling you guys, if there's any secret I want to let anyone know, like you look at Michelle, you look at myself, or you look at all these people, this is the secret. Name list management, okay? And key is number one, record keeping, writing it down. I don't care if it's on your phone or in your computer or whatever. The point is that it's written down somewhere, organized, categorized, growing, okay? Got it? Okay, good. Someone told me that they like it how I just gotta sort of get to the point and move on. And so that's what I'm gonna do, okay? All right. So name list prioritization. So this is really just some advice on how you can prioritize your name list. And the first one is looking for opportunists. So if you like this is the sort of in order, the kind of people that you're looking for first, okay? And the first kind of people you're looking for are people who are looking for opportunity, okay? There are people who are waiting to hear your information. There are people in this training right now that I know for as a fact that they were waiting for someone to tell them about Ruby Cell. They were just waiting, you know? And so those are the first people you want to go to. Second is people looking for second income. Third is reputable person. Fourth is strong family values. Fifth is those who succeeded in their own right. Sixth is good. And you know, when you look at, I mean, you can read this for yourself, but all these things are characteristics that you want to look in a person who has the character to be most successful in a network marketing business. Okay. And finally, you have at the end, anyone can be a customer. What that means is not anyone can be a customer, but not anyone can be a business partner. Okay. Because if you want people to be business partners, you need to go look for people with the characteristics at the top. But if they're just customers, then you can just go towards the bottom. That's why you look at this prioritization list. You can even filter someone, you know, and go, is this person looking for opportunity? Yes. Is this person looking for a second income? Yes. Is this person a reputable person? Yes. Do they have strong family values? No. Have they succeeded in their life before? No. Are they good time managers? No. Are they interested in beauty? Kind of, you know, and you go through that process with the person on your name list, and you will be able to what's called put points on them, and that will be what's called the quality of your name, okay, of the person that you are dealing with, okay? And that is really how to think like a businessman, okay? That is how you're actually going to be able to take your business to the next level, all right? So I don't know if you guys know, but I'm very passionate about this topic. I really sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, hope that you do this, because I mean, I've seen so much success personally by doing this. And I've seen so many people in my group, in my leadership especially, who became successful doing this properly, okay? Which is building name list, okay? And so, you know, when we look at the name list, some other things that we need to consider is when you look at the name list, you will analyze who is on your name, right? Name list. And then you will need to ask yourself, what is this person's objection gonna be before you go and meet this person? Okay. For example, like when, let's say because now you're doing Ruby Cell, right? But you were probably on someone else's name list before, right? And so when you were on someone else's name list before, and before they approached you, you probably would have had some sort of objection, right? I also had some objections, you know. I also was one of those people who didn't really like network marketing. I didn't really know what it was, but people didn't like it, so I didn't like it, you know. I mean, there are certain challenges that people have which you can predict even before you go and approach them. And so before you go and approach those people on your name list, you need to think in advance, what are some of the problems that they might have in joining your business, and how can you develop a solution to help them overcome those challenges, okay? So think about that while you're looking at your name list, and then go for the meeting with them. And your chances of closing them will be much higher because you're just more prepared, you know, compared to someone who just go for meetings, Okay. We have an example here. You can read this for yourself, but basically, the company McDonald's, in the US, only 2 out of 10 people in the US eat McDonald's, which is a 20% of customers. But 20% of the US population is 60 million customers. And if you want to be successful in network marketing, you need to have more names, period. Okay. And for those people who say that, oh, I don't want to, I don't want to meet a lot of people, you got to approach people, especially people you really need to ask yourself whether you want to really run a business or not. Because you do any business, you're going to need to meet people you don't know. Imagine if your nasi lemak makcik pakcik is like, I don't like your face, I'm not going to sell you the nasi lemak. Are you kidding me? Everything is a business, right? And so you can't be complaining about meeting people or having a name list if you want to run a business. Okay, it's not a network marketing thing. It's not a Ruby sale thing. It's a business thing. Okay, and so if you want to be a consumer, we don't need to talk about this. But if you want to be a business person, and if you're watching this, listening to this nuts and bolts, that means you're somewhat interested in doing business. Okay, and let me tell you that this name list building thing is going to be very important. Okay, now this is actually what I want to talk about. Because everything that I talked about until now is quite fundamental. It's quite basic, and it's something that everyone should do, okay? And I'm going to talk about how to expand your name list specifically, okay? We are living in a day and age, especially with the coronavirus, where we don't physically meet people that much anymore. A lot of businesses are happening online, and we really need to talk about the dynamics. What does dynamics mean more easily? Dynamics means more like what actually happens to people meeting people in business now in the world, okay? And in order for us to understand that, we must first understand the circles that people usually have, that everyone has, right? And so there are 3 main circles that we all have, everyone, okay? The first is family, cousins, friends, and colleagues, okay? And that's usually, and then the second circle is people I kind of know, like people you meet in the gym or in the restaurant that you go to or whatever. So these are your first and second circles, and everyone has these group of people, okay? And then you've got people I've never met, and that's really your third circle. And that portion, that people I never met circle, that is where you want to get to when you expand your name list. When you expand your name list, you're expanding from the people I kind of know to the people I never met, okay? And how do you go from people I kind of know to people I never met? Okay? And listen to this very carefully, guys. If you value connecting with people, you can constantly grow your name list. More connections increase opportunities. The key word here is valuing connection, valuing connecting with people. I mean, I can talk about this for many, many hours. And I know all of you enjoy listening to my beautiful voice and looking at my beautiful face, but I cannot be talking for many, many hours. But what I do want to tell you is, in a very short sentence, if you want to build your name, if you want to do business, you need to build your name list. If you want to build your name list, you need to value connecting with other people. If you want to value connecting with other people, you need to develop relationship skills and communication skills. Okay, you need to be courteous. You need to be sensitive. You need to be aware what's going on. You need to be more educated in terms of culture. Okay, you need to really study connecting with people. Okay, in order for you to constantly if you want to get to that point where you meet people you never met. One of the pet peeves or one of the things that people really don't like about multi-level marketing is that you approach your families and friends in order to do that business. And you know what? The reason why that multi-level has a bad name because of that is because too many people don't value connecting with new people. Okay. And if you don't want to approach families and friends, which, I totally understand and agree, what you should do is you should really develop the skill of people of expanding your circle to people I never met. And how you do that is by valuing connection. And if you value connection, you should be developing communication skills. Okay, you should be developing skills where you connect with other people. Okay, I hope you understand that. If you don't, you can always contact your upline or you can contact myself. Bonus content. Now, we are reaching the end of this training, and what the bonus content is, these days, we don't just connect with people offline, meaning face-to-face, but online, right? Meeting people online used to be an embarrassing thing. I remember a time when, people would tell other people they would meet girlfriends and boyfriends online. And they'll be like, oh, don't tell people that, we met online, we met at this library or whatever, but actually they met online, But these days, meeting people online is normal. Connecting, remember I talked about connecting people online, connecting with people in general. Connecting with people online is something that we all do these days, okay? And there are some things that I want to point out here, which all of us can use if you want to connect with people online, okay? I didn't say that you have to do this, okay? This is optional, but if you're gonna do it, you should follow these rules. And these rules have basically been developed in order for you to have the highest chance of meeting people you never met successfully and developing connections with them. Here I wrote a quote. People need to see you 20 to 25 times online before they trust you and consider buying from you. What this is from a guy named Gary Vee, very influential online marketing guy. And what this tells you is that if you want to do your business by meeting people online, you need to build an online profile. You cannot use your Facebook or Instagram like an advertising billboard. You can't, because no one's gonna contact you, okay? What you need to do is you need to develop communication skills online. Remember how I told you that you need to develop communication skills in order to value connections? You need to develop communication skills online. How do you communicate with people online? Well, if I wanted to talk about that right now, like in full detail, it will be another hour. But basically, social media is the new name card. So imagine if you have a name card, right? There are certain things that you put on the name card and there are certain things that you would not put on the name card, okay? And social media is where you put all those information in order for you to be able to connect with other people, open up yourself to other people, and have the opportunity to develop new connections and hopefully connect with people who have similar interests. And people connect with you when you provide solutions to people's problems with education, okay? That's really the key. If you educate people online, that is one of the best ways to connect with other people because automatically you become a solution to people's life, not a problem, okay? I know some social media content where they always share their life problems with people online, but I think that is more of entertainment. And if you're someone who's funny and you're entertaining, that's also okay, okay? In fact, that's probably one of the most effective ways to do social media. But just because you're good at social media, that doesn't mean you can convert to sales. But the important thing is, if you don't know what to do on your social media, educate people, okay? Could be about anything. Could be about nuts and bolts. Could be about how to build a name list. Whatever we teach you here, you can teach other people. And I can hear some of you telling me, "Oh, Joe, I just learned it now. I don't know so much about all this." And let me tell you that if there is a person out there, and there are people out there who don't know what you know, you already have the right to educate them. Okay? And so what you need to realize is that the knowledge that you have is something that you have that's available to teach other people, and don't have the fear, or don't lack the confidence. Be confident to teach other people, because that is something that other people don't know that you know, and so you have the right to teach them. Okay. RubyCell is the same, but what RubyCell means to you is unique. I know this sounds so deep and so chim, but let me try to explain this to you. I have a RubyCell ample here, okay? And when I look at this RubyCell, okay, for me, I think of the skincare that I use after I shave, the all-in-one solution. For some people, it's whitening. For some people, it could mean hair growth. RubyCell also means freedom for me. It also means helping other people. RubyCell means different things for all of you, I'm sure. The product is the same, but our RubyCell, your RubyCell, my RubyCell is unique to everyone. So when you're sharing RubyCell online, on social media, don't share the product. Share your experience about RubyCell. Because if you share the product, you're selling the same thing as everyone else. But if you're sharing your experience of RubyCell to everyone else, that is unique, and that is attractive. That will develop way more connection in the people I never met part. Okay? Some of you are crying, I know, but don't cry, okay? Because better days are ahead. So, a few more pointers here. Be creative, videos, audio, cartoon. There's a partner that I have named Kenneth. He's in Johor. Hi, Kenneth. And I really want to, for those of you who want ideas, I sincerely recommend that you check out Kenneth. Because why do I choose Kenneth? Kenneth is a guy. He's a hair stylist. And the way he does his social media is very authentic. And I think that he's listening to some of my advice, which is he chooses 5 areas of his life which is important, and he shares those 5 things on social media. One of them is his daughters, and I can really tell that every time he shares those videos about his daughters and then do RubyCell, people can really relate with him, and he's getting a lot of success. So, Kenneth Sim, I think that's his surname. So, you should check him out under Grace, Leader Grace. Educate, inspire, and influence. That's really the tagline that you should be thinking about when you're doing your social media. And use hashtag and Facebook groups as a targeting tool. Like, for example, for me these days, I am looking for rich men who have hair loss issues. So I tend to go for Facebook groups, and I make myself into a reputable person in that group by sharing good content first. And then people ask me what I do, and then I share with them RubyCell. That's what I do in Facebook groups. I don't go to Facebook groups and put ads and spam and all that kind of thing, okay? Have fun and be you. Again, there are a lot of people, like I think Annie Lai, one of our leaders, has a lot of fun doing, social media. I think someone told me that they thought that Annie was doing FB Live even before March. No, this is something that she did recently. And that really goes to show how you don't have to be doing something for a long time, and anyone will be able to do it as long as your strategy is right, okay? Have fun and be you. Don't forget your offline work. O2O, what that basically means is at the end of the day, guys, don't make the mistake of only doing online as well, okay? Both offline and online, meaning at the end of the day, people meet you online because they have expectations about you offline. People who you meet offline want to find out more about you online because they want to check you. It happens both ways, okay? And you cannot neglect one for the other. Like, just to give you an example, what does it mean to do Facebook offline, okay? Let's say that you put a post on Facebook and then there is a comment. A person who only does online will reply, will not do anything, or will maybe reply to the comment and that's it. But a person who does offline Facebook will look at that comment, write it down or put it somewhere. You know, I got a comment from this person, write down the details of that person as much as they can, analyze that person, follow up with that person, share information with that person, ask questions, get feedback, educate, share, until that person says yes, no, maybe to them. That's what doing Facebook offline means. Instagram is the same, TikTok is the same, YouTube is the same, WeChat, everything is the same when you do it online, okay? Too many times I see people only do Facebook, Instagram, and they still don't see results because they're not doing the offline work, okay? That's why it's so important for you to do the offline together with the online, okay? People call it O2O, you know, old meet the new, all this kind of thing. But in principle, this is what it means, okay? Guys, I have blazed through that training. The reason why I did that was because this is a recorded training and I wanted to really share with you the essence of this information. And I really sincerely want for you guys to be able to use this training, share it with your partners, or for you to learn and for you to create an even better way of explaining these principles to your partners. That's why I did it in a more square way, so that you know, you can learn in a more systematic way. But what we're gonna do is next week we're gonna move on to number 5, okay, and number 6, which are also all parts of the nuts and bolts. It's a series. Again, this is second week. We've got 4 more weeks to go, and that is really our nuts and bolts system. If you have any questions, please let your leaders know. And if your leaders don't know, your leaders will come to me, or you can come to me. And stay tuned for nuts and bolts next week on Monday night, okay? And it's going to be on YouTube, so for those of you watching on YouTube, you can always watch it on YouTube, okay? Thank you very much. We're going to stop the recording, and then we're going to become, and then maybe we can take some questions. So Wang Guang, could you stop the recording, please? Yes, Wang Guang, stop the recording. Someone. Okay. Hello, Wang Guan, are you there?
Yo, what's up?
Can you please stop the recording?
Oh, okay.